and it was staggering, and it was clear that we had a substantial problem on our hands. Well, the first thing we had to do was to build an action system that was large enough, respected enough, and strong enough to take on the Boston Public Schools. We figured the way to do that was to form a task force that would look at and oversee a study on the problem. The report was released on October 14, 1970, and headlines blazed across the Boston Herald and the Boston Globe. 10,000 children, students are out of school in Boston. Then in 1972 comes Chapter 766, the special education law in Massachusetts. In my judgment, the most progressive piece of education legislation in the history of the Commonwealth. Education is a right, not a privilege.
Well, from 1972, when we helped pass the first special law, Chapter 766, all the way through 2014, when we helped pass the Autism Omnibus Act, MAC has been a leading legislative voice to protect and expand the rights of children with disabilities in Massachusetts. So we use a multi-strategic approach to create systemic change. That's our main priority, to impact as many children as possible.
Our listening begins with our helpline. Many of our families have told us that the helpline is a lifeline. With our staff and trained volunteers, we're able to offer information to families about what their legal rights are and to help them to be better advocates for their children. What families hear is a caring voice on the other end of the line.
I have a child who is almost 9 years old and who is on the autism spectrum. He's lovely and he's so caring, and I love him so much. I reached out to MAC when I realized that I was getting to a dead end with my school district. MAC has a huge role in empowering parents. They also has fostered a sense of, advocacy within me, and they have empowered me, and I'm sure they would have. I'm sure they empowered other parents too. I owe MAC so much, as I think many parents do. I think that phone call that I made to MAC on that particular day, where all the doors were closed and where I felt hopeless, reaching out to them was the best thing that I've ever done. Increasing his just future chances, his life chances, is all related to a phone call.
One way in which we empower parents beyond our helpline is through trainings to families out in the community. We help families to know what their rights are so that they can better advocate for their children. We take on a limited number of special education cases each year in which we provide low-income families with free legal representation. Our coalitions are extremely important to the work that we do here at MAC. We work with a variety of partners in legal services and in the statewide agencies in order to accomplish broad systemic change. We could not do our work here at MAC if it wasn't for our partners in coalition.
It's really by working in the trenches with individual children and families that MAC identifies the system-wide barriers that are really creating obstacles for many, many children. And then once these barriers are identified, we can then advocate together with our sister organizations to create new laws and new policies that will remove obstacles and ensure a level playing field for all kids. Our goal is to ensure that all kids have the opportunity to learn and to learn to their potential. One of MAC's greatest strengths is that we never go away and we never give up. First, we will pass new laws, and then our advocates will work with these laws to help improve opportunities and services for individual children. And then we will advocate with state agencies and school departments to make sure that we have the policies and practices and funding necessary to fully implement the laws. And then we'll go out and we'll train parents and we'll train educators so they know about the laws and can help from the ground up to make sure that kids get what they need.
Well, first of all, going to college was a dream to me, and that dream was far from coming true because when I was born with a lot of health issues. I had to do a lot of surgeries to survive. And back in my country when I was 8 years old, I didn't know how to read or write in my own language. When I came to the United States, things were kind of difficult for me, but thanks to my parents, teachers, and also the opportunity of being in the Macy program at Roxbury Community College, that dream came true. Now I am studying at Bunker Hill. I'm trying to keep my GPA up so I could get better grades. I would recommend MAC to other students because it's a wonderful opportunity and you grow as a person being here. Coming from, I have made it really, really far.